Yo, what's up? Ah, 久しぶりだな、皆様。こんばんは。And good morrows and whatnot. My name is Silva Lowenhart, and yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it? Been a long time. I decided to just cut some of the gaming and decided to talk to you all. Because there's a lot that's been going on within the community, and I feel like I need to get some of it off my chest. So, yeah. Well, first off, welcome to the new setup, I guess. It's not exactly too new, but I added a few things to make it a bit more me. First off, the opening. Yeah, the pre-start. Usually it's just my face, but I decided to go a bit more into the free asset zone, I guess. So, there you go. So there's that. Secondly, I got some new music. Because, you know, the first one was a bit more, yeah, it was a bit, how does one say? A bit too recognizable for certain areas. And I clearly did not like that. So I decided to do something a bit more of my style. Incidentally, I got more music to help accompany me. I know Twitch has some sort of stigma when it comes to music and whatnot, but I figured, why not? Why not have this kind of thing? So, without further ado, let's just see the new one. If you can hear that. Alright. It might be a little low, but let's... Alright, there we go. Yeah, I'm adjusting it whenever I need to and stuff like that. But yeah, this is the new setup. I got more coming in. I might make it a little more personnel. But yeah, I think I said at one point if I was going to take this a little more seriously, I would do something like this. So that's what I did. I decided to fix things up a bit. As you see, I have my... my socials over there on the left side of the screen. You know, things have been a bit more cleaned up, I guess. A little more me time. So I guess the last thing will be the... Yeah, it's just a model, really. But again, that'll come what that'll come. But yeah, this is what's gonna be from now on. But you're not here to really hear me talk about that. You're kind of here to just hear me talk about some things that have been happening within the VTuber community. So, yeah. When it comes to the community, you've seen some good things, you see some bad things. Let's talk about some of the good things that have happened recently. First off, we got more VTubers coming out, and that's always a good thing. Always a good thing to have more VTubers coming out. And, well, we do have to congratulate one VTuber out there, Iron Mouse. Why? Because she just became the most subscribed content creator on the Twitch platform. So, I know it's a bit late, but hey, congrats to her. She did it, and we can't be more proud. But I know there's people out there that have said, oh, why are people subbing to somebody that's nothing more than just a PNG? You know, an anime girl, whatever. And I say to those people, well, she's entertaining. I'm pretty sure there's a ton of streamers out there that we haven't even heard about that probably getting rewards. She's just one of them. So you haven't heard of her, I do recommend go watching her because she is funny, she is entertaining, and she definitely deserves where she is right now. So that's just my take on it. When I first heard it, I said, wow, she really is that big, huh? To be the most subscribed content creator. I would say VTuber, but that's kind of a given, but the most subscribed content creator, surpassing other ones like Ludwig and such. I was surprised. But hey, you know, if that's what it is, that's what it is. I can't be more proud of that. And I've seen a lot of people complain about, oh, you know, who is she? Well, I don't know many of these people. I didn't really know who Kai Cient was, or wait, is that his name? Kai Cient? I gotta look it up because oh, Kai Sinat. Is that how you pronounce it? Kai Sinat? That's kind of a weird name, to be perfectly honest, but hey, it's what it is. So anyway, yeah, he was the most subbed person on the platform before Iron Mouse took over. And I'm pretty sure there's a number of people out there that probably didn't know who the heck he was. It's like, some people who win the awards is like, wait, who the heck were you? You forget that there's plenty of people on the platform that have been on there for years and have not really reached that high of a count as much as others have in a quick succession. So to me, it was just like, oh, well, he's famous. Cool. I'm not gonna like put it past him, because hey, enough people like him to have him reach the top. So I can say the same thing for Iron Mouse. A number of people liked her, so they pushed her in. That kind of sounded wrong, but you know what I mean. And again, she deserved it. You know, she tried her best and she did what she has to do, and she gave a lot of stuff to charity. So some good came out of that, didn't it? Yeah, you can't really be mad at something that's done for like the good of the world. And I'm pretty sure there's gonna be more people out there who's gonna get rewards that some people think they don't deserve. But again, it is what it is. That's one bit of good news out the way. Is there any other good news about there? Well, a number of VTubers are... Is there anything in the VTuber space that has been pretty good so far? Honestly, aside from that, when it comes down to the whole VTuber space, you can say there's a lot going on. You know, people are coming in. There's Halloween, so everybody's coming in and celebrating. You know, hey, I've been a VTuber for this, I've been a VTuber for that. There's more games coming out. There's more stuff coming out from a lot of VTubers. And, you know, all around just great stuff. Just great stuff. You know, a lot of people are trending. You know, with Hololive and Niji Sanji. It's all good stuff. So all I can say is that, hey, if you're a VTuber and you're, you know, doing what you're going to do, then, you know, it's no problem. No, there's no shame in that. No shame in that at all. All I can say is congratulations to all the VTubers out there who have reached their goals and doing what they have to do. That's fine. That's great. I'm not exactly angry about that. I can't be angry at people succeeding. They worked hard on it. They worked hard at doing what they have to do, and that's what they did. I can't really be mad at that. Now, as for me, yeah, I'm going to be doing more of the streaming stuff from now on. I want to be a bit more into this. Like, before I couldn't really be into this because of other stuff. But I decided, you know what? I want to do more of this. Try to focus a little more on how to be more interesting as a content creator. Because it's more than just playing games. It's all about interacting with the audience, putting yourself out there. But there's a few things I will do that will be a bit more permanent. For example, I'm not going to use Twitter or X. I'm not going to use that much as Twitter or X, as people like to call it. I'm still going to call it Twitter because that's what it is to me. Anyway, I'm not going to use that as much anymore for chatting. I kind of realized trying to put myself out there on Twitter is important, you know, market yourself, but Twitter itself is not as good as you think it is. Like, it's good for farming, but I feel like that's also a problem. And I can get to a lot of the problems within the community, but I wanted to focus more on the good stuff. But, you know, when it comes to the good in the VTuber community, it's mostly just congratulations and happiness all around. But when it comes to the drama, oh boy, don't we have a lot. And there are some things that have happened in the space that, you know, I just didn't really like. But let's get to those, I guess. So, there are a few things that have happened in the VTuber space, drama related mostly. And while there are very big specific ones, let's get to the more smaller ones first. So I think one of the things I see a lot of VTubers do is put the drama out for the world to see. Now you can say this for a lot of streamers, but drama shouldn't really be out there unless you want validation from a lot of people, which includes your audience. If you're going to put something out there, expect people to comment and give their own opinions about what happened. Some will agree with you, some will not. It depends on what kind of drama has happened, but if you're not looking to validate any sort of drama, don't put it out there. That is something I've learned while being on the internet. Do not put any drama out there unless you want people to say something about it. Like, you want some validation or you want some sort of like support or whatever. Always try to keep that kind of stuff behind closed doors, because when people comment on things, sometimes it can get out of control and suddenly everybody knows about it and they're coming up with their own conclusions about what happened, like this happened or that happened. It's something. So, you know, we really shouldn't do that. I'm just saying this right now. Anybody who has some sort of like issue with somebody, try to keep it behind closed doors unless you want people to know, hey, this person did a bad thing. Please say something about this. I don't, like, you can tell them, oh, don't say anything about it, but that's talking to a wall at that point. If you tell people not to say anything about it, you got to make sure that most of your audience knows you're not the kind of person to really blow people up like that. But otherwise, if you do say something, they're going to say something, because that's how that kind of stuff gets around. So that's just like that's just content creation 101. Never talk about your drama unless you want people to talk about it, because everybody's going to talk about it and it's going to spread around and it's going to get to a point where you just can't control anymore. So make sure you, whatever you want to say, it's okay to spread around, or at the very least isn't some sort of like vacuum or whatever. So yeah, that's one thing. And but if you come to what kind of drama, it could be a lot of things actually. Not just yeah, it's not just you know, personal drama. It could be drama that could be done from years ago, which kind of goes into the next point, and I'm gonna just sum this up really fast because I've been looking at this for a while. The fruits drama. All I have to say is, while I did not read the document, everybody has already came to their own conclusion, and all I can say is, well, it's out there. Like, it's out there, and it is 90 pages long. It doesn't really, I don't really care much for how it is. Like, I've heard people talk about it. I heard a lot of people comment on it. It's got a lot of traction when it first came out. Really, without reading it, I can say that it does justify one part of her, but everything afterwards kind of still has its supporters and detractors. That's all I can really say. And that's all I'll comment on. So yeah, that was that huge drama that was going on in the VTuber community. Otherwise, everything else... Oh yeah, there was the other part. The whole Niji Sandy thing with that producer. Yeah. A lot of people thought one thing, but it turns out it was another thing. So this is why you always need to get your facts before you put things out. And speaking of, that's another part. Yeah, this is a lot of drama, because drama is way too easy to talk about. When it comes to the good things, I notice it's not easy talking about good things, because a lot of it is just like, oh, you know, this person did that, and this person did that, congratulations, and so on. So when it comes to drama, sometimes drama is very, very easy to avoid, but it's also way too easy to talk about and way too easy to comment on. And I don't really like commenting on drama, because everybody says their piece, and sometimes if you don't get the full story, you can end up like missing some key information, and suddenly now you have to backtrack everything. So this is something for a lot of people who want to go into journalism, especially for VTubing. Make sure you double, triple, and quadruple check your facts. I've said this on Twitter. Make sure you do all that before you put something out, because easy money is not worth the tarnished reputation. I said some sort of variation on that, but basically, yeah. Just because it's easy money to get doesn't mean you have to go chase it just because you want that free money. Because that could equal a tarnished reputation, because you're just putting things out for content. You're not putting things out because you want people to know the truth. You're putting things out because you just want content. That's not how journalists should be doing things. You want people to know what's going on and, you know, what's the whole story behind it. So I think one thing a lot of these journalist content creators should know, or probably should do, first, acknowledge that there is a problem within the community, but wait for the information to come out. Don't just make drama about it. You know, just say, hey, I see this is going on, so let me relax, calm down, or at least not calm down, just wait and see what other information comes out, because if I put this information out right now, it's not going to be good. It's just me just farming content, and that's not something you should do. So if you want to be something like these people, make sure you always wait for all the facts to come out before you start making these rounds. That way, not only do you have all the information, but it's now easier for you to sum up what exactly happened. So when people ask, hey, can I get the TLDR on what's going on? And they can say, well, just watch this video and there you go. That's how you can get some content. Sure, it's still content farming, but now it's a bit more honest content farming. Otherwise, this is just tarnishing your reputation. I think did I just give a lesson on how to actually like do this kind of thing? Yeah, I think I did. But yeah, that's something I've seen when it comes to journalists. You know, content farming. You shouldn't. If you want to actually be a journalist, make sure you actually give out straight facts and wait for everything to happen before you start releasing that kind of stuff. Incidentally, I'm not going to do that, because I realize if I do that, it'd be way too easy to just go say, oh yeah, look, drama, let me get on that. Not to mention, I've seen so many people, like, you know, put out their own kind of drama that is actually demoralizing. So I'm not going to do that. Why would I do that? It's dumb to do that. Well, I say it's dumb, but who knows? I'm not going to say I will never do that, because at one point I might. But that's just me. There's also been some talks about engagement farming. So that's something else that a lot of people should really like think about, because I've seen it so many times on all sorts of posts on all sorts of social media, where creators will say like, hey, I want some friends, or I want some, you know, collab partners, or, you know, calling everything out so I can follow you and stuff. That's engagement farming, and it's been getting a bit of bad rep because a lot of people do it. And yeah, I fell for it a few times myself. So that's something that I think should be addressed. I understand that there's not a huge one for male VTubers, because, you know, not a lot of them are really entertaining. But I feel it needs to be said that we can be entertaining. You know, there's a lot of good ones out there. Sometimes you just gotta look past the non-existent boobs and non-existent thighs and realize that, hey, some of these people can actually be funny, you know, or have some really good comedic timing. It's just not as common as you think because of the demand for boobs and thighs and whatnot, but it is a thing, you know? And also looking for friends. That's a thing. Why? Looking for friends is something that I really also don't like. And me personally, I don't like, because you're kind of looking for networking. You want a network. Friends are a network, but then you see these people get like, all sorts of like likes and comments, and you kind of think to yourself, yeah, you've already farmed enough. Why do you need more? Because they want more people to just go follow them. I could say a lot more on it. I probably could say a lot more. But the point is, that's the whole thing about engagement farming. And I've seen a number of people, from fans and VTubers included, that it's tiresome. Why would you farm for engagement when you already have like enough engagement as is? Some people don't like that, and I'm kind of one of them, but I can see why. It is free farming. It's free farming for a lot of viewers and stuff like that. And speaking of farming for views, there's a growing number of people who just don't like the fact that a lot of these VTubers lately have been showcasing a lot of boobs and thighs, and yeah, I've seen that. And it's kind of giving me the vibes that this is probably why you guys have been banned from Twitch. Why the Twitch bans have been happening so much. And someone actually did say it, I forgot who, but they said that, and this is something I do agree with. When it comes to VTubers, you do choose how you look and how things have, physics. Like you actually choose the physics of your VTuber avatar, and that's why some of these things get banned. Like, it's one thing for real life flesh girls, but it's another when you actually can deliberately have all sorts of control over your content. Now I know some have been banned for sexual stuff, but for the ones that deliberately act a little too sexual, it's like, yeah, you do get kind of banned because you choose to make yourself look that way. Like, you choose to have like some really big boobs and some really big thighs, and sometimes it feels like, well, yeah, I can focus on those. Well, that's too much. Now we're going to have to ban you. So I could kind of see why Twitch did that. It really wasn't kind of a no-brainer. I did think about it because I thought to myself, why do people getting banned? And once they said that, it's kind of all suddenly fell into place. When you actually have options to choose how you look, and you choose to look incredibly sexy and incredibly revealing, yeah, I don't think that will work. And apparently Twitch has some sort of vendetta against some VTubers. Now, again, not all VTubers act this way, but there are some that do deliberately push the envelope, and that's why Twitch does ban them. So there's that. I'm as for me, well, I don't go on Twitch too often, so I don't really see it, but again, social media does show a lot. This ultimate talks about which platforms there should be and what platforms will be safe for VTubers during this whole Twitch thing. Like, some didn't really recommend YouTube because YouTube, the algorithm is too much, and it's not exactly good for farming a lot of like new stuff. Some people still do YouTube, but it's not for everybody. And Kick itself, yeah, Kick. I've seen so many people do so many wrong things on the Kick platform, and it got banned rightfully because of it. Like, I think more people have gotten banned from Kick. Well, not more, but I see people get banned on Kick quicker than they do on Twitch sometimes. It's weird. But when you actually see what they do, it's not as weird as you think. You kind of think to yourself, why the heck do people like this exist on Kick? And it already talks about having something separate specifically for VTubers, which I don't know if that would be a good thing, honestly. It could be a thing, but I don't know if it will be a good thing. It's something that, you could try. You could try, but it's not as it's not as not as obvious as most people would like it to be. Like, you have to set everything up to be specifically for VTubers to stream on. But then it's kind of also giving the question of why is this specifically for VTubers? What about a streaming platform that's specifically for certain kinds of, like, content creators? Like, let's say there's ones that do like Call of Duty. Why is there a platform specifically for Call of Duty players? And then you have ones that's probably specifically for fighting game players. Why isn't there one specifically for fighting game players? So, when you have certain kinds of content creators, they probably all want their own platform to gain, variety and attention. So, even making one specifically for VTubers, it's a thing, but I don't think it will be a sustainable thing because, you still get the problem of everybody trying to get something out of it. They all want to, they'll all want to gain, like, the top billing and all that. So while it can be safe, you also got to put some rules in there to find out what's allowed and what isn't allowed. And if that's the case, then sometimes it could be, oh, well, it's just the same as Twitch or YouTube or whatever. Like, if that's the case, you might as well just stick to the platform. So I can see why some people would think that they should have a separate streaming platform for VTubers, but at the same time, I don't think it's sustainable. At least, personally, I don't think it's sustainable. Because, again, one, a number of content creators will want their own platform based on their own thing. And two, if you're going to put some rules in there, there got to be something that says, okay, we allow this for VTubers, but not that. And if they end up too similar to other content, other streaming platforms, then you might as well just stay on that streaming platform. So, yeah, that's how that is. Is there any other things out? Well, there's a lot of things. I just said a lot. I was going through. So there was a there was I've actually been getting into a lot of movies lately, some horror movies. Now, the funny thing about me is that I never really looked at horror a lot because as a young lad, I was always scared of horror movies. I actually remember one time I was staying at my relative's house and we were in Alabama, which is a wide open space with a lot of, like, it's not a dense populated city. It's, in other words, like, a lot of roads and not too many and very few houses. And we just finished watching Halloween 1978, and I was scared out of my mind. And my cousin, he told me, oh, that movie isn't real. The heck you mean that isn't real? I mean, it's based off of something that can actually happen. You have a killer that's out there who is not a magical person. This is a real life human being who's just unnaturally tough. Like, not much you can do can actually hurt them. And this is actually way before they started putting the supernatural stuff into Halloween. This is the 1978 version where there was no supernatural stuff. He was just a ridiculously tough mother effer. So imagine me, a young lad, sitting there scared, thinking that person might come and actually come kill us like that. It's scary when you think about it. Some things are scarier because not because it's supernatural, because you think to yourself, it can actually happen to you in some way, shape, or form. And some movies are so good at creating an atmosphere that even years later, you still get scared of the fact that something can actually happen like that. But now that I'm older, I do appreciate the movies for some of the things they've done, because nowadays we can have CGI replicate all this stuff for us, but back then in the 80s and even the 70s, it was something that you had to really, really think about. Like, how is this going to work? And it creates something timeless that even if you watch it now, it still gets a shock out of you because of how raw it can actually get sometimes. Like, some of those are stunts, some of them are like, methods of forced acting, like enforced method acting. That's the trope where they do things to enforce a real reaction out of you. Like sometimes to get a real scare, they won't let you in on certain secrets until, on shooting, so that you can get the actual reaction out of it. And there's way too many examples of whole enforced method acting when it comes to any type of movie. Like I do remember one example being in The Exorcist 2, where Linda Blair, they made her walk out on her own balcony without any way to save her if she actually fell. Like there's a scene in the movie where she's walking on a balcony and she's supposed to be in a trance, but she's walking over a balcony. That's her actual living balcony, and there was no way to save her if she fell. So she fell, boom, that was it. That was the end for Linda Blair. Luckily it didn't happen, but they do enforce techniques like that to get a good reaction out of people, and it works. And then sometimes you go into the more dangerous method acting, which is fatal, which is where they try it, but unfortunately, people don't live. And you can read all about those within TV tropes. All the examples you want are in TV tropes. I've said this back to my TV Trope of the Day series, the Trope of the Day series. I said there's a number of tropes out there. I could give more examples, but it's a wonderful site where you can see every single trope out there. There's even tropes about certain content, certain VTubers, certain everything. Everything you want is in there, and they'll give you out the description. You can even edit your own. I've done so plenty of times under certain names. You won't find me, so ha 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 ha, and ha. But yeah, I've been getting into more like looking at horror movies. Like one of the most recent ones I've seen was Return of the Living Dead. Like it has some similarities to Night of the Living Dead, and it does reference it. The thing I like about the movie is that it's probably one of the most effed up movies you could ever see. Why is it an effed up movie? Well, for the very, very simple fact that you cannot kill the zombies. You can't kill them because they're made with gas, and the way that they're disposed is, well, in the first movie they don't really find out anything about it. They do in the other movies, but I just want to talk about the first one because it's a really funny movie. So whenever you cut off one of the limbs, that limb acts on its own. So it becomes almost near impossible to kill these things, and it gets worse and worse as the movie goes on, to the point that you kind of find yourself laughing that, wow, this is crazy. And the craziest thing about the whole thing, the whole situation, it was because of a simple mistake. One mistake. A single mistake. And the whole world goes to shit. And even after they throw a nuke at the damn thing, it doesn't work. So to me, no matter how many other zombie movies come out, the fact is, a lot of them have the same kind of weakness. You kill them and you hit the head hard enough, or you blow it to bits, it stops. These zombies, no. Even if you knock the head off, even if you knock the head off, chop the limbs off, that head will act on its own. The limbs will act on their own. It gets crazier and crazier. And yeah, the later movies kind of either do it for fun or take it a bit more seriously. This one was just like that kind of strange mixture that comes out every like once in a blue moon. It's something similar to Ghostbusters, where everything about Ghostbusters was just like that one stroke of lightning. And even though the same people tried to create the second one to, replicate the first one, it just didn't work. Like, it was only lightning in the bottle once. But yeah, I've been looking at a lot more, and speaking of scary movies, I realized Chucky wasn't that scary anymore. Like, when I was younger, yeah, he was kind of scary because, I guess it was kind of unheard of, but now that I've seen like more of the stuff, he's kind of funny to me. Especially when you get to the Of Chucky parts. Like the first three Child's Plays were played for more horror, but once Of Chucky began, like Bride of Chucky, they introduced Tiffany, and the whole thing just kind of delved into the whole comedic horror that is now most known for. And I'm more admiring the effects and how much goes into animating the dolls to do this and do that, especially when you see the different variations of it. it's a really interesting thing. And sometimes the behind the scenes stuff, you know, you realize, yeah, these things aren't so scary, and they're still going with it to today. Like, I can kind of see how some people could get tired of it, but I can also see why some people still like it. You know, it's one of the few series that's still going with the original director from the very first movie. Well, he didn't direct the first movie, but he's been with us since the start. He's been with us since the start, and he's still going with the series today. You know, it's fascinating when you see that kind of stuff happen every once in a while. You see somebody who's been with it from the start, continue with it all the way to where it is right now. You know, they still stuck with it. They still keep an eye on it. And when some of the people try to hands at it, you kind of wonder, hey, are you still with it? And they're saying, yeah, or no. It's kind of a mixed thing, to be perfectly honest. It's pretty mixed. I don't know. Another movie I saw a while ago was Dawn of the Dead. So I saw Return of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead. I don't know if I'll see any of the other Dead movies, but those two in particular I was really interested in. So Dawn of the Dead was made in 1978. Yeah, there's two versions. There's the 1978 version and the 2004 version. I saw the 1978 version, and yeah, even though they're slow moving and kind of very funnily discolored, it was still kind of creepy because, you know, even though they're slow moving, it's the atmosphere they give off, and I think that's something that's missing from a lot of scary movies these days. Atmosphere. You know, it's not just about like jump scares and whatnot. It's all about, oh yeah, like this kind of area, like this is the kind of thing that, you know, is scary because sometimes it can really happen, and other times it's like there's stories of it happening, or, you know, it gets worse, but sometimes it's just like, you know, supernatural jump scares and whatnot. You know, and for whatever reason, a lot of these have some sort of supernatural element to it. I mean, fine with the supernatural element, but once you realize it's supernatural, you kind of realize at the same time, oh, this can't happen. The scariest movies are things that can actually happen to you, or has a chance of happening. Like zombies, there have been a lot of people that have prepared for zombie apocalypses, and there's videos showing, hey, this is what we can do when a zombie apocalypse happens. You know, the killer coming to you for almost no reason that you don't know about. Yeah, that can actually happen. You know, you have no idea why they came to you or why they're after you. All you know is that they're after you, and you got to get away as soon as possible. Or sometimes you just go to somewhere and you see a whole bunch of crazies. That can actually happen because there have been, you know, you could be stuck in the middle of nowhere, and it's very, very scary to think that, hey, the person that probably helped me, they could probably, like, you know, up and kill me or do something worse. You know, that kind of thing is scary because it can actually happen. But once you throw supernatural into it, that's when it kind of gets a bit silly. It's like, oh yeah, you know, this ain't real. You know, you appreciate the kills, like how they get creative with some of the kills, but once you realize it can't really happen, it kind of stops being a bit scary and becomes a bit more fascinating because of, you know, okay, how's X and Y going to die? When it's actually realistic, like, this is stuff that you can actually picture happening because, you know, it's in a realm of reality. That's when it can get scary. That's just my critique on scary movies these days. But some can still be good. Not saying all supernatural is bad. Some can still be good. The atmosphere is correct. But, you know, not all of them have, like, really good atmosphere. Some do, but, you know, then it's kind of like, well, jump scares. It's all the same. Jump scares are all there. It's just jump scares. But, yeah. Those are the only two kind of scary movies I've seen. I don't really plan to watch more. Like I said, I don't see the Chucky's movies at this point. Like, I've seen kind of like bits and pieces, but that's only on YouTube. Otherwise, I don't really watch the full movies. In fact, I don't really watch a lot of movies these days. The only movie I'm currently looking forward to is Sonic 3 because I watched Sonic 1, my friends watched it, Then we all watched Sonic 2, and now we're all looking forward to Sonic 3 with Keanu Reeves the Shadow the Hedgehog. And speaking of, I think I'm gonna play that. Yeah, I'm gonna play Sonic X Shadow Generations because, hey, you're getting Shadow with Keanu Reeves as DLC. Sega is really starting to actually become a lot better today, these days. Not to the point where it's like, oh yeah, you're a bit respectable like you were back in the 90s, but they're cleaning up their act. You know, the movies are making good bank. They got the Ryuga Gotoku series going in. You know, we got Pirate Majima coming out, and that's something I'm definitely looking forward to because it's my boy Majima. You can't go wrong with him. I loved him ever since he appeared in Kiwami, because that's the first one I played. Then Zero came and he was a playable character. Then he kind of pushed to the sidelines when between after once 3 rolled around, because Kiwami 2 did have a side story, and it did introduce some elements to him, but afterwards he was pushed to the side story. He only gets a bit more relevance in 5. I won't say what happens, but that's the only time he gets a bit more relevance, and even then, it's not much. 7 is when he starts getting a bit more, but again, not as much as you think. So 8 kind of puts him in there, and then here comes Pirate Majima, and it says part of the Gaiden series, which is going to be a bit longer than Like a Dragon Gaiden. So I'm looking forward to that. And he also you get to dress up as him. And they brought back some good stuff like 24 Hour Cinderella. You know, we all love that. And they brought back the Lord of the Night. And then Goromi. You can't go wrong with Goromi. I'm just wondering if it's going to be dubbed. Because I know Gaiden was dubbed, but it didn't have to dub in until much later. So it's questionable whether or not they're going to have a dub. But people did point out a few things about it. Like, for one, Samoa Joe's in it. You know, I am a fan of wrestling, and I do like Samoa Joe. And Samoa Joe has always been like a really good like gamer head and a pretty decent voice actor. So it's nice to see that he's in a series that's representing, I will say Samoan culture, but I don't know if they're going to go that far. But he is in the game. I just want to know how big of a role he's going to have, you know, and who's going to be the Japanese voice for him. Because I know in 8 they had Danny Trejo, and they got somebody else to do the Japanese voice, but some people switch to English because it's Danny Trejo. Like, they actually modeled Dwight after him. So whoever this person is that Samoa Joe's playing, they're going to probably rename him, but it is going to be Samoa Joe doing the voice. I know that. Because that's how Ryuga Gotoku games always done their side characters and every other character, you know. They remodel their face. They put the actual person inside the game, you know, with models. So whenever you see somebody from you see a Japanese person in there, especially if it's an important one, that's actually a Japanese person. Like, it's not just like it's not like somebody made up. It's like this is a person that's actually a model. Sorry. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to how they actually do the whole thing. I know it's coming out in 2025, so at this point, if you haven't played 8, you should get on that right now because it's going to take place after 8, which means there's going to be spoilers. So there's that. Also, speaking of 8, I will have to say, regretfully, I'm not playing 8 anymore, at least on stream. I decided to finish it on my own because I feel it's more important to me that way. And it's been more fun that way because I got to be a lot, you know, I don't have to like, I can't say I got bored with it, but sometimes there are some games you just want to play on your own, you know, this is your time. Some games you want to share, others you kind of don't. And I guess this is one of the games where I kind of did want to try to, but things got in the way and I realized, you know what, I think it's better for me to share this on my own because I keep seeing too many spoilers for it. I don't see spoilers, but people put spoilers, and I try to avoid them, so I just want to finish it for myself. I will play other games, like, I will finish Assassin's Creed, and maybe some others. I might start some others. But I'm going to be a bit more focused on a bit streaming at this point, because I got a bit more free time. I'm not exactly working full-time, but I am, you know, doing things. You know, maybe this whole thing, if this streaming thing does pop off, then that'll be the thing. You know, I hope it does. But that's just me. You know, I can't get, you know, I probably could have been a bit more into it, and I'm trying to be a bit more into it. So, you know, that's just me. I want to be a bit more into this whole thing. So that's what I'm going to focus on from now on. I'm going to try to, you know, be a bit more proactive with this. So there will be some things I will do for a lot of these streams. Like maybe some reaction videos. I think one of the reasons I kind of avoided reaction videos was mainly because I felt like reactions were just like the lowest form of content. Like it's very easy to like fake a reaction sometimes, especially if you've already seen much of what you see on the internet. Sometimes it's just more, you're surprised at people being stupid rather than people just being like, oh yeah, you know, I'm haha hee hee funny or whatever. Like everybody talks about this and you look at it and you say, oh yeah, I've seen this before, or I can't believe they're that kind of stupid. Like I've seen plenty of people be stupid, sometimes absentmindedly and sometimes deliberately, because it's like, to me, you're a young person and young people tend to be more stupid than older people. Sometimes. Not usually. Sometimes older people can be really, really stupid. I've seen both sides of the equation to know that everybody can be stupid no matter the age. But when it comes to young people, they're sometimes a special kind of idiotic. Like you kind of realize that social media takes over the mind way more than education does. And so because of that, they don't learn some of the more basic things. Now you don't know if it's because they deliberately do that or because sometimes the education system fails them. But I noticed that a lot of people just don't understand certain basic things that you should know. Cause I think it's because like, well, hey, you know, all I can do is just make funny content on the internet and be rich, and I don't have to learn anything. Well, you don't have to learn business, you know. You have to learn business etiquette in order to find out exactly how to run things. But sometimes it's not just like reacting to people being stupid. Sometimes it's just, you know, showcasing, hey, I found something funny, I want to show you guys. Or, you know, looking at some funny VTubers or content creators and seeing clips of them and seeing, hey, you know, this is interesting. I also might be doing, I think I don't think I did this before, but I want to try to start incorporating anime into my lineup. Like be one of those content creators, at least a VTuber that says, hey, look, I review anime, you know? Like right now the fall season started, so I think what I'm gonna start doing is like looking at anime and like give my first impressions, and sometimes even like do certain reviews about anime series I've watched over time. You know, to showcase, hey, I watched this, so this is gonna be where it is. Cause that's something I always wanted to like put into some of my content, anime. Maybe some video games as well, you know, do some actual reviews of stuff like this. Maybe put some clips out there that say, hey, if you want to watch the rest of this, there's going to be other stuff out there. So I think I might do that. But if that's going to be the case, then I might have to start separating certain things. Like, one's going to be just like, you know, clips, and another's going to be like full VODs, so you can understand everything that there is to understand. So I think that would be a good thing to do. You know, maybe some react videos, but definitely incorporate a lot more anime into the whole thing. I don't know if it's going to be a daily thing, but it's definitely going to be a thing I will start like really putting into my videos from now on, along with some gaming. But, you know, I realize that gaming is not exactly always going to be what it is going to be. So sometimes it's just good to do anime as well. Now, I'm not going to do watch-alongs. Sometimes. I really should do watch-alongs because, you know, that's not my thing. I never really like doing watch-alongs. I like doing things on my own time, but share my experiences with you guys. Like right now, there's a number of anime I haven't watched so far. And there's stuff on there that I really should like get in, really start like, you know, getting down. Oh yeah, there's a lot. So I think, so I don't know, I'll start tomorrow, but I'm gonna definitely get some of this stuff out the way and give you some of my impressions about, you know, hey, I watched this and I watched that. Let me tell you how I feel about all these anime and stuff. You know, I feel like that would be a good thing to do. Because I know some VTubers don't really like do that, but if some do, but I want to be one of you to actually like, you know, leads on it. Well, not lead on it, but I do want to be like an anime content creator. You know, look up on anime stuff and talk to you guys about it, just to give you guys an insight on like, you know, how I feel about this or some things I know about the anime industry. Because, you know, while there's a lot of people that do know about anime, not many, you know, it's good to get different perspectives on it. You know, some like, you know, some know a bit more, some know a bit less, but this is just my take on the anime industry and sometimes some of the anime I watch. Now, the thing is, I'm not going to watch every single anime that comes out because, you know, I got other things to do and want to try other things, but I will make a list of the anime I will watch so you guys will know, hey, this is the anime that's coming out, so, you know, this is the anime that this person is watching. So, you know, I'm going to keep a list to see, like, okay, so these are the anime that I'm going to watch, and some of the anime I may drop at some point. But yeah, that's going to be what I'm going to do. So, for some content, it's not just gaming. It's also going to be some reactions to, like, certain types of videos, and some reactions to, anime. You know, sometimes get my review on anime, and sometimes a few games that I've, you know, played or have played in the past, or I'm playing right now. So it's going to be like a mixture of a lot of things. And sometimes I may incorporate some manga into there as well. Now, I will say this though. One of the things about anime that I don't like, and this is something that's been like in the talks about the anime industry for quite a while, is that every anime out there is not on the same streaming service. So that's already like one point against anime that I really, really hate. I never liked that. Because here are the few streaming sites that have anime. First off, you have Crunchyroll. And sometimes you gotta make a sometimes some anime are available, you know, without making an account. And some anime you need a Crunchyroll premium account to watch because that's the only way they're available. Now, that's not the only one. Some are also available on High Dive. And that's also, you know, something you do have to pay for some anime. And then you got some that are only available on Netflix. And Netflix's problem with anime, and this is a huge problem with anime with Netflix, is that when it's on Netflix, it is jailed until they make a dub. So sometimes you don't even see it until the dub is complete, which sucks sometimes. Now, the problem is to try to see all the anime that have come out sometimes requires you to not only do just one single platform. You gotta do like multiple different ones. And those are just 3 of them. There's probably way more platforms out there that I don't know about. Well, I won't say I don't know about, but there's probably other platforms that try to license the anime. And sometimes you don't even get that. Which is probably some of the problem with some of these, some anime out there. Some of them don't get licensed. And because some of these anime don't get licensed, it hurts people's wallets just to watch all these animes that they probably want to watch. Like, you know, let's say you want to watch like Uzumaki. You know, you want to watch, yeah, because Uzumaki is right now the best one, current one right now. Where can you watch it? Only on Adult Swim. Now, can you watch it without? Now, the problem with Adult Swim, see, right here, on Adult Swim site. On Adult Swim site right now, it's saying, I can't show you right now, but basically it's saying it expires on October 27th, the subbed episode. Now, for the dubbed episode, Okay, it's available. So dub is available, but when it comes to the first subbed, it's also available. But the fact is, that's the only way to watch it legally, and that's just one of them. Now let's say you want to watch like another one, like Kimi wa Maid-sama. Now, where would you watch Kimi wa Maid-sama? On Crunchyroll. So that's already two services you gotta pay for. Technically, one service you gotta pay for, and the other's kind of free. But it's the fact that you do have to pay for that just to watch that one. Now, what about another one? Acro Trip. Now, where can you watch Acro Trip? On Crunchyroll. So you gotta pay on Crunchyroll for that one too. That's already like right there. Now there's other anime out there that you only can probably watch on Crunchyroll that you have to probably pay the service for. That's only one of them. Now let's say another one like Rama. Now what do you want to watch? Now where can you watch the new Rama? Like, yeah, the new Rama, the one, the 2024 series. You can only watch it on, can you watch it on Crunchyroll? No, you cannot. You can't watch it on Crunchyroll. You can only watch it on Netflix. Now see, there's your problem. There's your problem right there. Some anime you can watch on Crunchyroll, some anime you can only watch on Netflix. And that's your problem right there. That's two services you have to pay for already just to watch anime. And let's say you want to watch more anime out there. The problem is that they always separate like certain anime from each other. Now, another one. Dandadan. Now, where's Dandadan? Is it on Crunchyroll? It's on Crunchyroll. So that's one thing on Crunchyroll. But then you got other ones like, you know, you got ones like Rurouni Kenshin. You might have to watch that on Crunchyroll. Then you gotta watch Trillion Game. Now, where are you gonna watch Trillion Game? On Netflix. There's your problem. There's your huge problem with anime. And it's something that's been going on for quite a bit now. The problem with anime is the fact that you have to watch like different ones on different platforms just to get all of it. So if you want to watch all the anime, you gotta pay for two completely different services. Now, what about High Dive? High Dive is right now the only other service with anime. So we're gonna look and see what's going on right here, like, you know. So yeah. So you got Oshinoko, 2.5 Dimensions Deduction, I Parry Everything, Plus Size Elf. So let's see, Seduction. Where can you watch that? Okay, you can watch that on Crunchyroll. But the fact is, if you didn't have Crunchyroll, you're gonna have to pay High Dive. Now the problem with Crunchyroll, and this is something that's also a very big problem, is the fact that some anime aren't licensed there anymore that you probably want to watch. So let's say you want to watch a certain anime, like here's an obscure anime that none of you know about. Mitsudomue. Where can you watch Mitsudomue? Can you watch it on Crunchyroll? No, because they took it off Crunchyroll. And that's always been a huge problem with some of these anime. Like, the problem with some of these anime is that you can't watch it on X or Y sometimes. Like, these are one of the few animes that you can't watch anywhere legally anymore. So, what's the problem? Where can you watch it? You gotta go the way of the pirates. So that's always been a problem with anime. You gotta go the way of the pirates. So yeah, I want to review some anime, but sometimes you can't watch certain things anymore because some of them are not licensed properly. So for some of the anime that won't be licensed, you gotta go the way of the pirates. And it sucks. Because sometimes you do want to watch it, and they don't license things anymore. Or the license runs out, and they just don't feel like renewing the license. And sometimes there's some anime you just want to watch and you can't watch it because, well, it's not available anymore. So you can't watch it. So where else can you watch it? Well, again, you gotta go the way of the pirates. And it sucks. It sucks because sometimes these anime are things that you watched like a long time ago and you feel like, hey, you want to watch it again. You can't watch it because you gotta go the way of the pirates. And sometimes you can't find the DVD for these anywhere because they don't sell them in certain areas. So, you know. It sucks, but, you know, it is what it is. And then sometimes they make you pay an arm and a leg just to actually own the damn thing. So, let's back to Mitsudomoe. Let's say there's any DVDs you can buy for this. There's a Blu-ray set on eBay. There are also DVD sets that's used. But unfortunately, there's no other way to watch it. So if you haven't gotten it right, say you've gotten it now, there's no other way to watch it. A lot of these are just from, like, you know, the Japanese versions of it. So unless you know a way to find it, yeah, this is the only way to watch it. The only way to watch it. And it sucks because sometimes you want to support the anime industry, but you can't. Now, I love anime, but this is the big problem. Where not only are anime limited because they're on various different streaming sites, but sometimes the anime is just not there anymore and you have to go pirate it somewhere. That's a problem. That's a problem I always have with the industry, and a problem I will always have with the industry, because sometimes they keep telling you to support the anime industry so we can keep these things going. Well, what happens when you just don't want to support the anime we want to watch? Well, now we gotta screw you over. So sometimes you give us a choice, and other times you give us no choice. And sometimes you want way more for what it is. Like eBay, why is it $347 for a Blu-ray set? And this is just Mitsudomoe. There's plenty of other anime that don't really get the huge release that it should because sometimes people just don't want to support it. Like, you want to buy it, you want to get it, you want to see it, but it's not there anymore. And sometimes it's not your fault. They'll just tell you, well, it's not, coming out anymore. So what do you have to do? Sometimes you do have to go the way of the pirates just to make sure it's archived somewhere, so that when you do want to watch it, you can easily go back and do it. And the whole thing about pirating is that it's been increasing. And I know people are saying like, oh, it's bad. It is bad. But there are times where we don't have a choice. And this is the real big complaint. Like, as a consumer, there are times where we want a choice, but we don't have a choice. We want to watch these anime. We want to watch them for legally free. But you don't give us a choice to watch it. Not only because, again, they're on different platforms, but also because you just don't have them anymore. So we have no way to actually legally watch these. And that sucks. Like, I want to watch some of these. I want to support them. And I can't. And the worst thing about it is that it's going to keep going. Like, this is the thing that's going to... Like, this is a continuous fight between us and the industry. Like, consumers in the industry, this is a continuous fight where, they put out an anime, we watch it, some people pirate it, some people don't, they watch it legally. And, we can talk about the whole thing about, what it doesn't do legally versus what it doesn't do, like, illegally. But that's a whole nother story that we can get into another time. But the fact is, sometimes we want to watch it, and we can't. Sometimes you want to support it, and maybe it's not popular then, but later on it does. You see back at it and think to yourself, man, maybe that wasn't that bad of a thing. Only to realize you can't find it anymore. People talk about something being bad at first, but then to give it a chance later on, and you think to yourself, you know what? Maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, and then you can't watch it. Why can't you watch it? Because it's not available anymore. Unless you have the DVD or know where the DVD is being sold, or the Blu-ray, or wherever, you can't watch it legally anymore. Or if it's on a service, you gotta make sure it's a service that you're actually paying for, because if it's not on there, you're gonna be angry. You're gonna get pissed. You're gonna be like, wait, I wanna watch it here. Why can't I watch it here? Well, because it's not here. It's there. And that sucks. And we can really get all into the anime industry about it, but yeah, long story short, I wanna watch anime, but I gotta make sure that, what I'm doing is legit. I can do reviews on it. I can talk about the anime industry being, a crapshoot. But I think we all know about that. We all know that anime is a crapshoot. It sucks, but it is what it is. But yeah, those are just some of the simple examples of what's going on with the anime, and just my personal opinion about it. You want to watch something, but you can't. You gotta pirate it sometimes. And that's because unless you own a DVD or you own the complete copy of it, if it's gone, well, that's how it is. And sometimes it's not even the anime industry's fault. It's the distributors. Because Crunchyroll sometimes takes a lot of anime off their lineup to add more anime onto there, and it sucks. And then you want to buy the Blu-ray or DVD at a later point, and you can't. Or sometimes you want to see it at a later point, but you can't. Because it's not there anymore. But yeah, long story short, when it comes to being an anime fan, it's easy and hard at the same time, and a lot of this has been talked about to death. But sometimes you just want to give your own opinion about how the anime industry is, and that's one thing I've noticed. People talk about anime, and sometimes talk about the anime itself, but a lot of times you do want to talk about what goes on behind the scenes. Sometimes you got production issues which delays a lot of anime, sometimes for a couple of weeks, sometimes indefinitely until things get worked out. And I realize that's been a thing that's been going on more often now. Now I don't know if it's because the working conditions are getting worse, because that's always been a thing for a lot of jobs in Japan, even to the point where if you're sleeping on a job, they're not going to bother you because they realize, yeah, this is a lot of work. And they actually have a name for people who, unfortunately, off themselves because it's a lot of work to deal with. Sometimes they're so young and they, so fresh, but when they go to that kind of job, and they do call that sometimes a black company, and yeah, the VTuber community has something like that with Niji Sanji, but I won't get into all of that. You already know all the details, but yeah, that's the thing within the Japanese working industry. It's a lot of things that kind of make working in Japan really, really tough. Sometimes with very little pay out of it at all. You're working extremely hard, but you're barely getting by, which sucks. It sucks to the point that people are kind of denizens to it. It sucks that people are denizens to it, and I think the whole point, and that was actually one of the biggest plot points of Zom 100, if you ever seen that anime. Basically, the main character was overworked so hard that he will prefer a zombie apocalypse better than going back to work the next day. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people have felt that way. It's I hate work, but I don't want to deal with that, so I'll just deal with a zombie apocalypse rather than deal with this. Well, thankfully they do have other jobs that you can actually do that don't really force you to go there, but sometimes you want a more guaranteed salary. It's understandable. But other times, just doing small things making money on the side, it works. It's not super sustainable, but it works. That's really how it is. But yeah, one of the things they've been doing, what's happening so far within the industry, is the fact that there's been a lot of like delays with anime. Now, I don't mind it if the production, you need to do it, but it's been getting a lot worse, and it kind of makes you wonder what's going on with it. Like, is the job, like, I was working on anime that strenuous, and it seems like, yeah, it kind of is, and it's kind of worrying me. Not because I want my anime to come out and it's like, yo, screw these guys, but it makes me wonder, like, how bad is it that a lot of these anime are going on production breaks, to fix some of their mistakes? Because, it does worry people when, there's a lot of background industry nonsense going on, and sometimes you don't know what's going on. You want some answers, but at the same time, you kind of just want to let them do their own thing. You just kind of want to say, you know what, you're fine. Or not, you're not fine, but you know what, I'm not going to stress it. Work your problems out, I'll watch something else. But yeah, sometimes you get anime that are like, really good and just like keep going with it. And other times you get these production issues. And production issues have been growing right now. So it kind of makes you wonder what's been going on so far. But I'm not exactly too stressed out over it. I know they're going to do well. I know some of these people are going to do well, so sometimes it's just good for them to take their time. Especially when they're popping out like so much anime per season. They kind of wonder, okay, are you guys monsters or machines or whatnot? Because it seems like you're just regular human beings who just want to get something out in like a week. And when you actually compare it to like other animation industries, they get something out and it's like, well, it's simple, but the Japanese people, the Japanese communities, they're working their asses off. And here I'm just gonna say this. Don't worry. We'll be fine. It's fine if you want to work as hard, it's fine, but we'll be fine. You don't have to kill yourself over it. Well, please don't. Whew. But yeah, I think I'm gonna start doing that. A few anime. Like, there's a number of anime I got going on right now, but yeah, I'll put some of the reviews out tomorrow because I'm still in the middle of trying to get some of these out the way. So when I do that, I'll definitely get some of my impressions on the first episode of some of these, and some already came out with the second episode. Again, I got a little more time, and maybe some manga in here and there as well, But it's gotta be something that manga's in the same the manga's in the same kind of realm where some manga don't come out, but that's a lot more understandable with manga. Not every manga is suitable for release outside of Japan, because you want to see production value and costs. Like, anime is something that's easily viewed as a medium for a lot of people, because you can make it however you want. You got to make it for modern audiences, because a lot of children are going to accidentally see this. They're going to just scroll through the channels and see something like this. And, you want it to be appealing to a lot of the mainstream audience, because not many people read manga when you think about it. Manga is not available widely, because not many people want to read. And then there's the problem with translators. And translators are a whole nother can of worms there. That's why some people start learning Japanese, so they can actually see, hey, what the heck is actually being translated. Now with manga, some manga don't get translated because not a lot of them make it stateside. Some manga you might find and think to yourself, oh, this is actually a really good story here. But unfortunately, it's not available in other areas. And that's not usually the fault of usually the fault of the publisher. Sometimes some manga just doesn't really gel well in other areas. Sometimes it does, but other times you just see the more popular stuff, not the obscure stuff that are really good and, only available online where, a lot of people do fan translations. But sometimes they only do the more popular ones or do the ones that have official releases. And sometimes the official release translations are way different than what's been actually being translated by fans. And there is a reason for that. One of the biggest reasons is that sometimes fans translate literal Japanese. But when it comes to official publishing and official translations, sometimes you want to translate in a way that when you read it, it doesn't sound like, odd. Like you're saying it sounds natural. And incidentally, that's also something that's behind a lot of dubbing when it comes to not only anime but video games. Because there's been cases where sometimes the translation inside a video game is different from what's actually being said. So because of that, sometimes the translation and what's actually being said for a dub doesn't really gel well together. And that's because sometimes the dub will say it in a way that if you read it, it sounds natural than what would it be if it was translated. Like, I remember one case of that happening, well, that was Tales of Hearts R. I played the game and people were really, really angry at the fact that it wasn't dubbed. Or that the subtitles, the translation, it didn't make any sense. To be more accurate. So, the translation didn't make any sense, but the way it was written with a dub in mind, which sadly never materialized. And I realized that's how some of these companies do some of their translations. Now, some will actually go the extra mile and actually put, the translated version and then the dub version in their media. Like a Dragon did that. When I noticed that when they were speaking Japanese, the script was different than when they were speaking English. Like, some of the things were the same and some were different. So sometimes people go the extra mile for that, but other times it's just one's translated and the other's just official. And sometimes the translation one is probably the more accurate, but the official one, when you say it, it makes more sense. And that's only if they don't put some of their own hidden agenda in there, because that's the reason why some translators get a lot of flack. To make a long story short, they've gotten a lot of flack because of that. And I said I wasn't going to talk about it because that was a whole can of worms, but yeah, that's something that a lot of translators have been getting a lot of flack for these days because they put their own agenda into it, and there's too many examples to count. So we'll just say sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, and the times it happens, they've been called out on, and that's been, a big thing recently. But as for some manga that, but whether that happens in manga, sometimes, yeah. If it happens in anime, it's usually because it's translated, but sometimes the dub does do that kind of thing, and people have noticed it because some people are really focused on when it's hey, this dub did this. Me, I don't watch dub. I used to watch dub, but only on occasion when it's hey, this dub is actually really good. But most of the time, I just kind of watch subbed. Because sub is faster, it's already there, and you don't really do much for make it work. It's just dubs. But yeah, that's how it works out. But yeah, I think so there's been a lot of things in the anime industry that I can try to talk about. But I think I'll just focus on sometimes the reviews and sometimes my personal experience on what's been happening with the industry as of late. And that requires usually a lot of researching. I'm gonna try to keep the whole drama thing to a minimum because I know not a lot of people really like drama. Some do and some farm it. But really it's just getting an insight on what's been going on in the industry. Because sometimes you just want to find out, okay, this has been going on, so now we're going to talk about it. Because, sometimes you want to get it off your chest and get some opinions about this. So that's going to be that. And I may react to some openings to some previews of some future anime. because that's also going to be a thing. You know, I want to try to incorporate the anime into my, you know, talking sessions, and when it comes to gaming, it's whatever it can be, or whatever's allowed me to do. So yeah, that's the plan. That is the plan. As for the manga, it's just simple reviews. You know, just say, hey, look, this is the manga you guys should watch. Look at it. You know, check your local listings the when it's coming out. You know, here's what's going to be in it. You know, you can read it here or buy it there. Just stuff like that. You know, I don't know if any other VTubers are going to do this, but I know I'm probably going to be one of the few who will do this. You know, kind of focus on the anime side of things rather than the Japanese, you know, just being like a haha hee hee ho ho whatever VTuber. Like, just use it to do whatever. So yeah, it's just reactions, reviews, and whatnot. It should be pretty fun. Should be a lot of fun. As for gaming, I might take a backseat for a while because some games I might play, some I might not. But yeah, let's just say my life is going to be a bit more interesting from here on out. I'm only getting older, I'm not getting any younger, but it's time to change some directions and do things I should be doing. But anyway, that's all I wanted to get out for today. You know, we'll start nice and fresh tomorrow. Well, it technically is tomorrow. We're going to start nice and fresh for the next stream. You know, until then, that's all for us now. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, love, peace, and VTubing. See you next time. And time to cue my ending stream. Ending transition. It's nice!